I have a clear image of a campsite with some tents, a small fire surrounded by forest. I don't fully know where this idea comes from, but I feel the need to just make it. There isn't any fully formed story yet. I think I'll just have to start making something. And every time I drill a hole in something, I save these holes. What's the opposite of a hole? Well, this round piece. So I thought maybe we could start with this. I want to add some air drying clay on top of this. Something to carve in that's not so hard. In my experience, starting with nothing is really hard. So just slapping on something helps. I have these 3D printed rollers that give texture. They're fun to just, I don't know, go a bit crazy with. I can use my weirdly shaped fingers. Stripes could be nice. I don't know. Some small pebbles. Use them to make some indentations. I guess I could also leave some rocks in there. Could that be cool? I think it will be a bit boring if it's just tents and a campsite. I want to have a tiny sliver of some water here. Something like that. Maybe there's some big rocks here down towards the water. Spruce forest. Yeah, this kind of feeling. And it's so dense that it becomes really dark and mysterious in the background. But how to build model spruces? Spruces? The branches are sort of in layers, and I want that. But without being too repetitive and also don't look too rigid. I've seen these YouTube shorts from factories that make circular brushes, where they attach the bristles along the metal and then they just spin the metal. Then I'll hook this in here. I did not think that would work this well. And it even has these layers. Maybe also some glue and some flock on top of this would look good. I've sprayed this with some spray glue. I'll just try to spread some of this mixed flock on it. Look at this! This is amazing! The problem is they don't look like the trees that I wanted to make, but this looks a lot better than what I could expect to make. Second coat. That is too good. Just too good. And it takes so little time to make one of these. I can just test stuff and change my mind later. Hey Coco, look at these. We're making trees. No. Hey! Thank you. Coco made the tree quite flat and a bit sticky. For some reason the audio in the coming clips were corrupted, so I have to do a lot of voiceover. I wanted sand on the campsite, so I added some alcohol-based glue and poured a bunch of sand on it. This is a quick way to get a good coverage of the sand, and it dries quite fast. This is one of those small LED candles that flickers when it's on. I thought this could be a cool addition to the campfire, so I tore out the components I needed, drilled a hole in the base and added the light. And then it was time to add some grass. I've heard that jute is a quite good material to make model grass. You just cut the fibers to the length you want, add some glue to the areas you want the grass to stick, dab on some fibers and shake off the excess. When working with several materials, it's a bit hard to see the vision, so I primed the base black and added a sideways highlight with some white to bring out the details. I wanted to make the tent out of some kind of fabric, but to figure out the shape and size of it, it's easier to work with paper. So I cut out a tiny square from my sketchbook and folded it into a tent-like shape. Then I covered the tent with superglue and draped the whole thing in a piece of fabric. I then soaked the textile in superglue and let it harden. This way I could cut really precise shapes from the fabric without the edges fraying. And with that, we have a tiny tent. Continuing with the bonfire, I cut some slivers of plastic from the original flame from the candle. These tiny curls look quite a lot like licking flames, so I could glue them to the diode, and this actually worked quite a lot better than I expected. So the only thing that was missing was the obligatory ring of stones around the fire. I finished up by base coating the tent grey, and I was finally ready to attach the trees I made. After figuring out the location, I drilled some holes, added super glue and stuck them into place. And finally, I think the original audio is back. I want this to be sort of the warm light that glows inside here. And I think I want moonlight coming from the back. And I'm trying to imagine a straight line from the fireplace to these rocks and how the light would sort of hit the edges. Like here, this surface would probably be mainly warm light. And you know, I'm really happy. I'm doing this really, one could say, pointless work. I'm putting plastic paint onto tiny rocks, trying to make them look like big rocks. Anyway, my point is that I'm having such a good time with this. The last couple of videos has gotten a lot of views, and your comments really brings motivation to my work. So many nice comments, so many interesting takes on creativity, good questions about how I make stuff, and generally just good vibes. So I'm super happy that so many people are engaging with the videos. Yeah, I just really enjoy making these videos. And I'm gonna try to add some airbrush. This color is sort of an orangey. I'm not fully sure I'm selling the color palette, like it looks almost black and white. I think it helps a lot if I turn off the lights. Yeah, you can see what I'm going for. We can't get distracted by what we've done. We have to move forward. I think if I get the water in, it's going to be easier to sort of see how the whole scene works. Oops, loud sound. Some UV resin in here. Maybe I should have colored the ground in this darker, because this looks a bit silly now. The resin becomes hot when it's curing, so the tape will probably warp a bit. I'm not too concerned about that, because I think I'll add some kind of border to this. It doesn't really read as water, so I'm going to try to just paint this. I might be making a huge mistake, but that's how we learn. And I'm sure everyone that's done some resin work before are screaming, "Don't do it! Don't do it!" And now I have to add the resin on top. Let me see if I can show you. It's quite flat. Let's harden this and hope for the best. I think I'm going to just darken some of the shadow areas with some black wash. This is just black paint with some water in it. Nothing fancy. I haven't really managed to get rid of this green color here. Maybe reddish wash could work, just to make it a bit less green. I think it sort of works. Let me put the light on. It's still kind of green. I made a gray that is... It's not with a cool blue, it's with the ultramarine, which is quite red. And I'm going to just stipple in some warmer grays where I feel it's mainly green. I'll have to make the bonfire a bit more red. It's quite easy to overdo this step. It might also look good with some orange glow down here. I think I want to try to make some smoke coming from the fire. And how do I keep this sort of collected? Maybe fishing line could work. Add a drop of glue here. So I think I'll add some dots of glue on random locations and try to put some cotton on it. Let's do this, like this, and dab this into place. It's quite rigid. Well, I think the smoke should probably start more or less straight. A bit dramatic. Maybe I should paint the tops of it black to make it a bit less obvious. Yeah. I dip the end in super glue. I try to aim for right behind those flames. I need to move a bit quickly. This means I can break off the supports. And I should actually be done. It looks fun. It was interesting to learn how to make these trees. I'm hoping you can help me figure out what happened in this campsite. It's the nighttime and they have a bonfire. Did they go for more firewood? Did they go into the tent and left the fire burning to fend off evil spirits or wolves? Or is it the rat going to the countryside to fish and he just had a pit stop here? Would love to hear your thoughts. Maybe we can spin some new models out of this. I'm so stoked about all the comments and the response I got from the last video. Really happy about that. I have some touch-ups to do, I can see. Some black. The work of a miniature builder is never done. Well, actually now I'm done. Thanks for watching.